Hi, welcome to Devin Tries. I'm Devin, and today I'm going to be trying to make a Coquille Saint-Jacques. Coquille Saint-Jacques. Coquille Saint-Jacques. Today I'm going to be trying to pronounce Coquille Saint-Jacques. Coquille Saint-Jacques is a creamy, cheesy scallop dish that is sometimes cooked in a scallop shell. I don't have scallop shells, so I'm just gonna put them in some ramekins, but it sounds delicious. And I've also got a nice crusty bread here just in case we wanna do a little dipping. Coquille Saint-Jacques is a recipe I pulled from this, the Betty Crocker cookbook. Now right away, I'm sure a lot of French people out there are thinking, what the hell? How could you make a Coquille Saint-Jacques from Betty Crocker's cookbook? Well, I just pulled this cookbook out of a dusty shelf and I started flipping through it and I found the recipe. I was under the impression that Betty Crocker was a real person, but it is not. In fact, Betty Crocker on the back says America's most trusted kitchen. Betty Crocker is a kitchen. This was a well-meaning gift from my parents when I went off to university. I never opened it. However, as books go, it's actually a pretty great book. You know, it's sort of set up like a binder. You know, you can add pages, take pages out if you need to. Got these really handy little tabs on the side so you can find things. And that's how I found this, Coquille Saint-Jacques. So Betty Crocker, I'm gonna refer to Betty Crocker as a person because I want to believe. Betty Crocker writes in her handwriting, which is real, Coquille is French for shell or scallop. And Saint-Jacques is the patron saint of France. I'm gonna use panko. Panko gets really nice and crispy. Aside from that, I've gone with everything that they've suggested, including shredded Swiss cheese, which I don't know what is with these recipes wanting just like a mild cheese. Give me a bit of funk on that cheese. Short anecdote for you, I've been to France. I actually traveled there in grade 6 with my parents. We went to Paris, the big city. And I was so excited because I was 1 year into French immersion and I thought, this is perfect. I'm gonna be able to practice my French in a place where everyone speaks it. So at a cafe, our first stop, I said to the server, "Je veux avoir une tasse de café." Very confident, very excited to be heard, to be seen, and I was heard and seen by a Parisian man sitting at the table next to us, reading his newspaper, who flipped it down and said, "Dirty, dirty Canadian French." And I was too shy to speak French for the rest of the trip. I'm not kidding, it was really terrible. Those words, that face is seared into my brain. You know, in hindsight, it was kind of true. I think all my teachers in high school were from Quebec. Thankfully, I powered through and I can still speak French perfectly. Coquille Saint-Jacques. Allons-y. Step 1 is to find a pan that looks like it's been salvaged from a trench in a world war. And then we're gonna start processing these shallots. A shallot seems to be some sort of onion slash garlic, but really it's more of just an onion, a plucky little onion with a lot of flavor and attitude. So this is how I decided to cut these up. Please, rate my knife skills. Give me some feedback. I think I did a pretty good job here. Good enough. Now on to the mushrooms. I selected these oyster mushrooms. They called to me. They looked like they were 3D animated. They were so smooth. But when I cut them all up like this, I realized that's a lot of size. So I cut them in half. Anyway, gave them a little shake here after cutting them in half. Those are nice mushrooms. Parsley's next. Love an aggressive chop on a leafy green. The bay scallops didn't shake well in the bowl, which kind of bummed me out, so into the pot they go with the parsley and some white wine. Put about a cup of white wine in there and then fill the rest with water. What you're gonna do is you're gonna bring this to a boil and then you're gonna let it simmer for 6 minutes after you put salt in there, of course. Everything needs salt. Everything returns to salt. So here I am using my trusty Timex watch. Honestly, if I were to get a sponsor on this channel, I would want it to be Timex. Reach out to me, Timex. I have an incredible story of a lifelong commitment to your company. That watch is 16 years old. Okay, so now I'm reducing all that liquid, but it was hard to tell how much there was because of all the bubbles. You have to get it down to 1 cup. So I tried for a little bit and then I thought, well, judging by my math, this is perfect. Just over perfect. Pretty proud of that. In goes the butter. I recently learned that butter is the best fat for transferring flavor. You know, this channel could just be a butter melting in slow motion channel and I would be okay with that. Look at that. Delicious. Mmm. Okay, enough of that. In go the shallots. Give those a little fry. In go the mushrooms. It was really smelling good in here at this point. Mmm. Gonna use my weird slotted spoon I found. It was perfect. And more butter. A little bit more butter. Okay, that butter's all melted and in goes the flour. You know, this probably has some sort of specific name in cooking, but I'm just gonna call this a sauce. So in goes the reduced white wine and scallop water into the flour and the butter and making that all nice and smooth. Back on the heat and in goes the cream. So let's recap. We got butter, we got cream, we got white wine. Holy, this is looking so good. In goes the mushrooms and the shallots. Mix that all up. Essentially a goop. You know, you could call this Coquille Saint-Goop, and people would be like, oh yeah, I know that one. Coquille Saint-Jacques, I don't know what that is, but goopy scallop? Yes. So let's hit it with some of that Swiss cheese and make it nice and ooey-gooey. Look at that slop. I say slop in an endearing way. I love this slop. So I'm gonna slop it into the greased ramekin here, and then I'm gonna top it with some panko. So the panko I actually mixed with some melted butter because we need more butter in this dish. Into the oven it goes to crisp up that top, and there you have a Coquille Saint-Jacques. Of course, a French dish wouldn't be French without a cheap wine from Chile. In all seriousness, the Connoisseur Viognier, it's not very expensive and it's friggin' delicious. Connoisseur Bicicleta, you look cheap, you taste great. Okay, here we go. Crispy. That was really good. I mean, it makes sense. It's scallops, it's shallots, it's cheese, it's salt, it's cream. It's great. The only thing is, the scallops aren't great. I bought frozen scallops. I should have read the recipe closer. It did ask for fresh. I just think these are tough scallops. I realized when I was cooking them, it felt like I had boiled them too long. I think this, with nice fresh scallops, cooked properly in this sauce would just be absolutely incredible. But holy, look at that mushroom. Look at that. Betty Crocker, you make more than just good cookies. Where's that Mr. Christie? Betty Crocker, you should meet my pal, Mr. Christie. I'm gonna give that recipe a 8 out of 10. It's not healthy. It's not healthy. Thanks for watching Devin Tries. Write down below what you think I should make next, and make sure to like and subscribe, all that good stuff. If you have any ideas of what I should cook next, put it down below. Maybe link a recipe, or tell me where to find it. That'd be fun. Merci à voir ma vidéo. Au revoir.